record on this computer. Okay, yeah, it's recording. Cool. All right, so I will say good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is a very basic course on search engine optimization, but the good news is it's a course that gives things that everyone can immediately do themselves. If you manage your website, if you have a content management site, a WordPress site, these are things that you may not know to do, probably have not done. They're simple to do, and once done, should net you positive results in the organic search rankings. So first, just kind of an introduction. My name is Ron Stark. I own a company called Voice Marketing and Printing Services, a full-service ad agency. I've been doing this, for about 150 years. I also have a TV show called Voice of the Inland Empire. Google it sometime; it's fun. You can check out our website at voicemktg.com, and you'll find just a wealth of everything we do. Under services, there's a drop down, and the agency does a lot of stuff. While you're there, be sure to go to our website page. So under services, you'll see websites or web packages, and you can click through these and get some ideas. I mean, these sites range from very, very basic informational sites to extraordinarily complicated e-commerce sites and everything in between. So if you're looking to see how different people set up sites, this is along with your own online searches, is a good way to do it. So now I want to do some quick introductions. First, and I don't know if Jenny's going to be able to talk, her mic isn't working, but our host, the County of San Bernardino, they've heard me say this: the services that the county office offers to San Bernardino County businesses is one of the best kept secrets in the area, and it's all free. After this webinar is over, Jenny will be emailing everyone information on the variety of services they offer, as well as a survey. And there will also be a link to where you can view the recording of this webinar, because we're going to go through a lot of stuff. And if you miss something, you'll have an opportunity to go back to the video and watch it again. Some of the things that the county offers that are just so awesome is, one of my favorites is their free HR service. If you're a business in the county, and I'm sure that's one of the flyers that Jenny will be sending out, there's a number you can call for free HR support anytime. And this is a full-blown HR company. And, most small businesses cannot afford to, have their own internal HR department, yet are always, especially with what's going on right now, are always having questions. What's the best way to handle this? What's the legal perspective on that? How should I move forward? And all of the free HR advice that you could need is available there. Another one is, and I'm blanking on the acronym now, but it's through America's Job Centers. If you're looking to hire a new employee, we've had a couple more people join us. Including Darren. Hey, but I don't see a mic. Darren, if you, there we go. Hey, Darren, I am unmuting you, I think, unless you don't have a mic. I was going to let you talk about some of the services that the county has to offer, but it doesn't look like you have a mic. But they have a program where if you run it through the America's Job Centers and bring someone in who's been displaced from one industry, and you're willing to kind of train them up in yours, that you can get up to 50% of their pay back for up to, I believe it's 3 months. And I've used it. I've told so many of my clients about it. It's really an incredible opportunity. So watch for that flyer and email from Jenny. And there's just a lot of great things that the county has to offer. Also, she'll be emailing a survey. This survey will not only give you a chance to rate the benefit that you received from this webinar, but will also ask you about other webinars or seminars that you might be interested in. And this is how the county gauges the usefulness of this. These are free to you, but they're not free to the county. And like everyone, the county has limited resources and wants to make sure they use those resources the best ways possible. So when you get that survey, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to see other webinars and seminars, it's really, really important that you fill that survey out and return it. And then next, I want to introduce Scott, who is a senior member of the voice marketing team. Scott oversees everything that has to do with web development, web design, and graphic design, and oversees a team of designers in terms of working with them to get the work completed for voice marketing clients. Scott, you want to say anything?
Good morning, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm hoping to help you guys understand more about the SEO and anything else you need.
Yes. So Scott is, I'm the marketing guy. Scott is the guru. So he knows, he can answer maybe some of the more difficult questions about how to work with your website to implement the things that we're going to be talking about today. So if you have a question at any point during this, does everyone see where they can raise their hand if they have a question? Yep, I see Dan just raised his hand. I'm trying to unmute Dan, but I can't. But yeah, and I see Cecilia raised her hand. Perfect. So raise a hand. If you've got a mic, I'll unmute you and you can ask your question. If you don't have a mic, use the chat feature and I can read your question. So does that all make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, doke. So everyone's muted except for Scott. Good. So let's get started. So what is search engine optimization? Let's get down to the very basics of it. When you go into Google, Yahoo, Bing, does anyone actually use Bing anymore? But anyway, when you go into any of your search engines and you type in a query or a word or a string of words for something that you're searching with, and then a screen pops up with all of these listings. Now, typically the very top and the side are your paid listings. That's your search. That's your like your Google AdWords. And they're either, there's a color behind them, like a soft gray or blue color, or they say paid, but you know that they're paid ads, and not taking anything away from those, but just know those are paid, not organic. Then below that are all of the organic ads. So in a perfect world, you're on page one. If you're any deeper than page two, you kind of sort of don't exist. Now, there's different searches though as well. A local search is going to net different results than say a national search. So we have clients, we have some that are national. So we need to make sure that if someone's doing a nationwide search, that they come up high in the rankings. But we also have a lot of clients that, like a local plumber, that, don't care how they rank in New York, because they're here in California. So we can work and focus on getting their rankings up higher just here locally, which frankly is much easier to do than national. So how they get ranked, and we'll go into more detail in this in a minute, but it's in terms of how relevant Google feels your website is on the web overall and to the question or the query that was just put in. So we're going to learn some things today that will help increase your relevancy in Google's eyes and will help bring you up higher. Now, everything we're learning today is what we call on-site, and we'll talk about the difference between on-site and off-site. But there are companies out there, once you've done all this, you may decide that you like the results and you want to drive yourself even higher up in the rankings. There are companies that do continuous or ongoing search engine optimization. They're continually doing things to keep your site fresh and the on-site optimization good, but then there's also a lot of off-site things they do that can help drive you up. The good ones that do this are not inexpensive. There are some really inexpensive ones, mostly offshore, but you really got to be careful with those. So let's start now with the 5 pillars of SEO. And that is, what does Google really look for? Now, we've all heard about Google's algorithms, and their algorithms are constantly changing. So what I'm going to share with you is kind of a 30,000 foot view, but I call the algorithm the Google dance. And what I mean by that is Google changes their algorithm. People like us figure out how to kind of exploit the loopholes and how to kind of work the algorithm to our clients' benefit. And then Google goes, okay, too many people are working our algorithm, time to change it again. And it's just a dance. But with that said, these 5 pillars are always in the algorithm, and they're considered, varying levels of important, but they're all important. So let's go through these one at a time. So content is king. Nowadays, more so than ever, as the Google crawlers have gotten really good at crawling and understanding content. There used to be a lot of things we would do on page to try and boost its appeal to Google, but now it's all about good quality content. And we'll talk later about how you can make that content keyword rich to make it even better for you. But the days of writing a website and just throwing up, some just real basic, content, real basic text or wording, and then forgetting about your website, those days are over. I mean, you can still do that, but Google hates stagnant websites, and the longer you go without touching it, the more you get dinged for that. Oh, my phone just heard me say the G word and did a search. So your content is really, really important as you're building out your website. So bear that in mind. We want it to be strong, not only for Google's eyes, but for everyone that visits it. Next is performance, and this is where a lot of people get hung up as well. And we'll go into more detail in this as well. But Google wants a website that's, number one, Google friendly, which means that it's at minimum responsive, and it's best if it has a mobile site attached to it, so a standard desktop site and a mobile site. And it needs to load quickly. One of the mistakes that a lot of novices make is when they're selecting photos that they want to put up at their site, or they've taken the photos with their camera or their phone or whatever, they're really high res. And in most cases, if we're talking print, typically the higher the resolution, the better the quality. You get just the opposite effect in a sense here. Most monitors don't view more than 72 dpi. So you can put a really high-res photo up. It's not going to look any better, but what it's going to do is bog down your site and slow down your site, and Google's going to ping you for that. So later on, we're going to talk about how you can optimize your images, but you want your images to be as small as possible and still look good so that it doesn't affect the speed of your site. Security is, I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. Security is also becoming more and more important, especially if you do e-commerce. But even if you don't, if your site is not an HTTPS, it should be. And whoever's hosting your site, most of them will do that for no charge or low charge. But if you're not a security-based site, Google will ding you for that as well. And that's probably the fastest, simplest, easiest thing. Scott, anything you want to add on becoming an HTTPS?
Yeah, the SSL certificate's used for secure checkouts, and it also informs the clients or users that the website's secure, so any confidential information is kept encrypted on the server, and that way it gives more confidence for the web browsing experience.
Right. Especially, like Scott said, if you're doing e-commerce, people, they don't want their credit card stolen. So it encrypts on one end, it sends the encrypted message, and it unencrypts on the other end. So even if someone was to hack in during transport of the message, it's encrypted, and they won't be able to get to the data. And Scott, most hosts are doing this now for free, right? But you have to ask them.
Yeah, there's different levels of, there's free SSL certificates that are offered by most major hosting services. And also you can pay for a third-party certificate, which could cost you, $15 to $100 a year, but it just depends on the amount of traffic your website's getting and how many online orders you're getting. I think it's Komodo has one of the biggest SSL certificate programs. So, and that would be a yearly fee. Or you can, there's alternative free ones on most hosts.
All right. I'm seeing some chats come in. Dan says, yes, I use Bing. Okay, Dan, thanks. And Alexa is always listening. Most all hosting services offer at least shared SSL certs, yes. And, if you're using GoDaddy or GatorHost or one of the majors, then they'll offer that, and it's usually free. And I see Sal has a hand up. So, but I can't. Oh, there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, actually, a couple things on that. I don't know that they're all free. I host through 1&1, and it's not free. I do host several websites, and it's $20 per site on my package at least. But I've also heard that Google is actually using HTTPS like secured sites, and they're actually giving it a boost on rankings.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you can speak to that, or have you heard that, Scott?
Yeah, no, if you're not HTTPS, you get dinged for that. And Google sent out a message on that some time ago.
Okay,
so,
they did?
Yeah, so that.
Okay, I'd heard that rumor. I wasn't sure if it was true. I never received that message. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm leaving the chat window open now. Google actually delists non-HTTP sites regardless of site age. Okay. So yeah, so talk to your web host, and like I said, it's either free or very low cost depending on who your web host is. Let's go to the next one. Accessibility is basically designed for people who have barriers of interaction, whether they're visually impaired, audibly impaired. And if you're using a content management site, a theme or a template, then in general that stuff is already built in. The next one, design. You know, and this goes back to being responsive, being mobile friendly. You know, and the better your site looks, the more inviting it is, and the more often people want to come back to it. So, you know, at our firm, we're so often called out to companies, and we deal with a lot of manufacturing in the manufacturing sector, where one of the engineers built their website 20 years ago. And by the way, in my humble opinion, engineers should not build websites. Just because you can't do a thing doesn't mean you should. And the site's just really, it looks out of date. So even if the content is good, and Google aside, if someone goes to your site and you're using a really outdated theme, you know, what's the message that that kind of sends to the person visiting your site? You know, does it kind of send a message that maybe everything you do is outdated and not current? And does that affect your work? So if you're not using a current theme, and again, themes range from free to, you know, they can be expensive, but for most people, they don't have to be. You know, get and use a current theme. And if you buy a current theme, like a current WordPress theme, it's already responsive and it's already got the mobile site built into it. Okay. Oh, Dan just wrote, programmers shouldn't build websites either. That's funny. All right, on-site versus off-site. So there is a lot of things that we can do on-site, and that's what this webinar is about, that will help move you up in the organic rankings. And I'm not going to talk about them now because we're going to talk about them in a moment. And like we just talked about when we looked at the pillars, you know, content is king. Keyword-rich content is better. We'll be talking about this in a little bit, about naming your photos, images, and infographics with keyword-rich file names. And we're going to be talking about blogging. But most important is touch your site regularly. Whether you're just doing a weekly blog, or, you know, what I recommend most people do is start with your homepage, ask yourself what you can do to improve it, do it, then go to the next page, then go to the next page. And when you're done with your site, start over. Constantly be touching your site. Offsite covers a lot of ground, but one of the most important is backlinks. And I put here relevant backlinks for a reason. In the old days, when we first started doing this, where content is king now, backlinks were king. And there were actually backlink farms that occurred. And back then, when we did SEO, part of our pitch was, and we'll give you 200 backlinks a month and this and that. And, you know, it's part of the Google dance. Google got smart and said, wait. If people are creating these kind of phony backlink farms, and they're, you know, and there's, you know, and sites are having thousands of backlinks that really don't lead anywhere relevant, we're not going to count those anymore. So the crawlers now actually crawl the backlink. And if they get to a site that they don't feel is relevant in some way to your site, at best, that backlink is ignored, and at worst, you get dinged for it. Oh, someone asked, what is a backlink? Thank you. So you've been on someone's website, and maybe on one of the pages, there's a page called other contacts or people to contact or more information. And you go to that page, and there's all of these links that take you to someone else's website. Those are links that take people back to your site. If you do a social media post, and in your post you include a link to your site, that's a backlink because it takes people back to your site. So any place, and there's internal linking, which we'll talk about as well, and there's a benefit to that. But the more external backlinks you have, the better. For example, most chamber of commerces, most trade organizations, once you're a member, will offer you the opportunity to put a little ad on their website, a text ad, or maybe a banner ad, or maybe, just, a link in a listing. But all of those are backlinks to your website. And the more of those relevant backlinks you have, the better Google likes you. And these are some areas where you can do your back. All your social media posts should always have your web address. Doing reciprocal links or one-way links with other websites. You may find a business that is non-competitive to you, but reaches out to a similar audience as you do. And maybe you guys will do reciprocal links. You'll put their link on your website, they'll put their link on your website, and you both benefit. If you do YouTube or you do videos for other sites, those should always have a link back to your site. If you write blogs or articles that are spun out or posted in other places other than your site, those definitely should have backlinks or links back to your site. So this is all kind of offsite stuff that you can play with. Some of this stuff you can do. The higher level offsite stuff, you'll probably need to hire a firm to do for you. So let's start at the beginning. This is, as we've said, a very basic beginner's course. But the good news, these are all things that you can do yourself, not have to pay someone to do, and they will help improve the rankings of your site. Now, with that said, for larger companies, I am a big advocate of offsite SEO. We do SEO for a lot of companies. But like I said, it's not cheap. I mean, our plans start at like $1,000 a month. So you've got to be a bigger company. But the companies that we work for are in very competitive industries where their competitors often are doing SEO as well. So if they don't stay in play, they keep getting pushed lower and lower in the organic rankings. But what you learn today will be an excellent start. And like I said, you should see improvement in your rankings unless for some reason you're in a massively competitive industry. And I kind of doubt that's going to be the case for most of you. So let's start, like we said at the beginning. If you were looking for if you were looking for your business, what would you search? Sit down either by yourself or with coworkers or just friends. It doesn't matter. But anyone that understands what your business is, ask them, if you needed to find me, what would you search? Like, for example, I have a jacuzzi, a spa at home, and the motor, I think, just burned out. So first I did a search for a spa repair upland and really didn't get much. So then I did, because Upland's where I live, then I did a search for spa repair Inland Empire. Bingo. I got like a dozen sites that popped up. But ask yourself what you would search. Then make a list of 10 to 20 of these keywords or keyword phrases that you would look for if you were looking for you. And Scott, anytime you want to pop in and add something, feel free. So start with your homepage. Once you've got that list of keywords and keyword phrases, the homepage is read more often by the crawlers than any other page on your site. Get those words worked into your homepage as reasonably as possible. Now, reasonably is important. In the old days, it used to be about meta tags, and meta tags typically were actually hidden on the back end, so your site visitor didn't see them, or sometimes people would put them on the page but do them in white so that they didn't really show up. But again, Google got wise to that, so that doesn't really work anymore. So you've got your 10 to 20 keywords or phrases. You could just fill the whole page with just those words and phrases and nothing else, and Google's going to go, no, because this isn't readable content. So as you work those terms in, it still has to be readable for a normal person to read it and not think something looks weird. Then next, spread those same words and phrases, again, as reasonably as possible throughout your entire site. This third one is hugely important and can really help you out. Most people, when they put, let's say, a photo on their site, the name of the photo is typically something like, 12345.jpg, right? So you can put that file on your site and you can leave that file name, but when Google crawls it and it reads everything and it reads that file name, does 12345.jpg mean anything to the Google crawler? No, of course it doesn't. So, but if it said bestplumber.jpg or best IT guy or, internet technology for you .jpg, and the name may or may not even be relative to the image, it doesn't really matter, but you're getting more of these keywords to populate your site and be seen and crawled. So same thing with your images and your infographics. Make sure they all have keyword rich file names. And we said that. So once you've done the homepage, then spread them across your website. But then once you've peppered your website with these high level words, the next thing is to now go page by page. So when you look at each page, especially for people that offer a variety of services or a variety of goods, look at each page and pretend that's a one-page website and ask yourself the same question. If I was looking for this website or this page, what search terms would I use? Again, in manufacturing, we have people that maybe do injection molding, blow molding, a variety of things. So on their injection molding page, we want to ask ourselves, what terms would I search for to find this injection molding page? Make the list and then get those terms as reasonably as you can in that page. Now you can have some duplication from page to page, but the less the better. It really should be focused on that page. So now we've made our overall site keyword rich. Now we're making each individual page keyword rich. And there's nothing cooler that when you go to the search engine and you do a test on yourself and you do it and you search injection molding, that it doesn't take you to your site, it takes you to that page of your site. Even better. Typically 3 to 5 words is enough per page. So it doesn't have to be a ton, but make them as strong as you possibly can. Every word that appears on each page is a powerful opportunity to move towards the top of Google. But and we talked about this, when you're developing or refreshing your content, make sure it's high quality content. Remember the 5 pillars? Content was the first one. Content is king. So don't screw up the content in an effort to put in these keywords. That will do you more harm than good. So make sure it's good grammar and that, the related keywords and phrases make sense the way they are or the way you use them. Enables search engine friendly URLs. Now we're now on the back end. Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when you set up your web page, you want to have the title of the page and the URLs reflective of each other, basically describing what the page is about, services, content that may be on the page, and referring to what Ron said, like pool repairs, upland, versus if there was more, if there was a company that utilized that search term, it would be more recognizable for Google to pop up. So you want your on-page content, your URLs, and your page titles all to be matching. It gives more relevance for the page for Google to find.
Right. So for example, when you name a page, you could name it something as simple as services plastics. But if that page is really your injection plastic molding injection molding plastic page, then you might want to put that in the URL, in the name of that page. You know, so it would be, you know, your main URL name slash in plastic injection molding versus just, you know, services or something like that. So that also helps when people are doing search. If they're doing a search and Google sees a URL where the name in that URL is an exact or very close match to the search, bingo, you're going to come up, and that's good news. The next thing to do, and this is important, is when you're creating your site, you know, typically the home page has a slider page up at the top. The other pages, the sub pages, maybe have more slider, or they're just static pages, and that doesn't really matter. But the point here is what a lot of people will do when they're creating that image to go in the banner at the top or in the slider at the top. They take their image, they type some text on it, and then they save it as a JPEG or a PNG, and then they upload it. Here's the problem with that. That text that you put in that is now flattened in that image is not readable by the crawlers. So what you want to do is upload your image, but then use your theme to put the text on top of the image. And when you put it in that way and it's floating on top, it is readable, because that's going to be some of your most keyword rich content that you put, especially on the home page, on top of the slider. So remember, if you've got text that's flattened into an image or into a photo, that's not readable by Google. Scott, anything else on that?
Yeah, so it making a flattened image with the caption sort of you're losing an opportunity to add more site content. It looks pretty and it's good on the eyes, but that's why you can work with the developer to code in the correct web fonts and stuff to create the same effect by using the same content.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is also important, and this is again relative to the home page, and we'll show you some examples of websites, or you can go to our website and look. But have you been to a home page and they've got the slider up at the top, they have some good content, and then down below it they've got little banners, you know, that talk about different things and maybe some text underneath them, and if you click, it takes you to another page on the website. In most cases, those are duplicative of what's in the nav bar. So why do we do that? Again, because the home page is read more than any other page. So this is another opportunity to show Google what is most important, what the most important pages on your website are. So you've got these links, these internal links, and underneath the link, you know, maybe you have a picture of a building or gears or something like that, that when you click on it, it takes you to a page. But underneath that, you've got more text that maybe talks a little bit about that offering. And then it says read more, and you click, and either you can click the read more or you can click the icon. Either way, it gets you to the page where you see all the detail on it. But it's another opportunity to make that homepage really chock full of keyword-rich text. Okay. And it's important that the keywords on each page are relevant to the content and topic of that page. So again, it's not going to be helpful if on your plastic blow molding page you've got your keywords for injection molding. We want our broad words that are peppered throughout the site, but then you want each page's keywords to be relevant to that page. Also, make sure that your keywords are, and we're going to go into detail on all of these in a second, but make sure you've got those same words built into your title tags, your page descriptions, your H1 tags, we've already talked about your image names, your alt tags. Once these keywords and phrases are gold. And once you've got them, use them every chance you get. So let's talk about title tags. This is probably the most important ranking factor per page. And it's something that most people either forget to do or don't know to do. It's what the searchers see. So when you do a search and then you look at the organic ranking, there's usually a title there, and then beneath that a description of what that page is. So that's the title tag, and I don't think I put the term page description in here, but they're kind of in the same place. If you don't tell Google what to put there, Google will glance at your website, grab some content, and show it there, and that may not be what you want to show. So if you write a title tag, that's what will show up on the search. And if you write a page description, that's what will show up on the search. Because if you don't do that, it typically takes like just the first paragraph or the first so many characters from that page and shows that, which may not give the searcher a strong enough reason to visit your site. Your title tag needs to be kept to 67 characters or less, otherwise it'll truncate. And Scott, do you remember how many characters it is for page description?
I believe it's for page description, it's 160 or less, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's characters, not words.
Yeah.
If you write it out in Word, you can do a word count or a character count. But what's nice is now you're controlling, if someone does a search and your website comes up, you're controlling the title that they see, and you're controlling the description of that page that they see. And on the back end of most content management sites, there's a place where you can plug that in really easy if you look for it. If you go to the page and you're in your control panel, you'll see title tag, page description. And for most people, they're empty, and fix that. they shouldn't be empty. If you're doing HTML coding, you can see this is what it looks like. But most of us are not working in straight HTML sites anymore. We're working on theme sites. So as you go into the page, look where you plug in your title tag and look to where you plug in your page description. In that same area, you're also going to find your header tags. And this is something that is purely for Google. It doesn't necessarily show up on your site. But think about, when you were writing your college papers, and you had a headline, and then you had a variety of subheads. And these could even be subheads that are on that specific page of your website. Let me go to the next page. You've got up to 6. Some people, and Scott, I'll let you chime in on this. Some people say that all you really need to do is heading 1, and anything below that is of minimal help. Others say do them all. Scott, what's your thought on that? How deep should we go in the heading tags?
Well, I guess it would depend on the page, because if you have a main services page, then you would have a enticing heading that's descriptive of your services. And then so if you have 10 services, then your main title would be basically like, this is our plastic injection service page, or plastic services page. And then underneath that, it'd be like heading 2, secondary importance would be all the different types of services. So you can sort of delegate where the most important features of the page are, and you can use the title 1 as the main descriptive heading, and then below that, as if you have 9 or 10 services you offer, you can add the heading 2, And then so the other benefit of that is that you can style it in a different way. So visually for the visitor, they can see the difference between that these are like subservices, and you can continue on with that hierarchy between heading 1 all the way down to heading 6 if you want, and then get more descriptive as you go on. So.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, nowadays, most people, if they have multiple services they offer, each service will have its own page. But let's say that for whatever reason, some people, that have, fairly simple theme sites, it'll be one long page, and you can click on, the service you're interested in, and it will automatically scroll the page and take you to where that is. So, Scott, I think that would be a case where it'd be really important to take advantage of all of your headings, because you've got all that content on one really long page.
Yeah, correct. This is where you can add the picture and a paragraph, but the picture can have a heading 2 underneath it as a caption for the main services, and then below that you can have a little snippet of the describing the picture for that service, and then a anchor link to the subpage.
Right. Thank you for that. So we talked about title tags, page descriptions, and your header tags. Those are 3 things that will be really easy to do, especially I'm assuming most of you are managing your own websites. Just go in through your control panel, go to that page. You know what these are now. Look for the title tag. It's going to say title tag, and there'll be a box, and you type in the box, and then page description, there'll be a box, the headings, and fill in that information, and you'll be amazed. That alone will give you a nice jump in the rankings. We kind of already talked about this, but when you add images to your page, make sure they're not too big and high resolution. Scott, how many times have we had clients tell us that their sites are slow and they're lagging and they're having all kinds of issues, and we go in and they've got all of these images that are like huge, 60, 80 megs, or more.
Yeah. Yeah, so like you can actually, you're gonna say you work on an image and you crop it and you get it the right dimensions. And so if you're using something like Photoshop or another type of image customization software, then you can actually save the image in different resolutions, so that you can set the DPI to be 150. And ideally online is 72. So you'll see a difference that what it does is when the website loads, if it has 10 images that have 5 megabyte images, that's 50 megabytes that it has to load just on that one page. And so what that will do is it creates a longer, the potential customer could get impatient with the download. And also when Google scans it, it's the load time is going to earn you, it's knock you down a little bit. So the idea is that you sort of want to have the whole website load under 4 megabytes, the whole page. That way it gives it a fast user experience. And if they're using mobile, because the mobile, sometimes it won't be as fast as your at-home internet, it'll create a lag on that too.
So remember that, and I suggest everyone that currently has a website, go in and look at your images, and if they're all huge, optimize them. And if you just do if you don't have or know how to use Photoshop, there's lots of software on the web that you can get that will help you optimize your photos and images for websites. Because remember, one of those pillars was performance, and huge images on your website just destroys your performance. So that's important to do. And then, as we talked about earlier, make sure your images have names that are keyword rich. So once you, either before you upload it or after, I suppose it doesn't matter, probably easier before. So once you've created your image, then rename it, from the 12345.jpg. Do I see? Oh, I see a hand. Okay, hold on, Sal, 1 second. Rename it and to a keyword-rich file name, and then upload it to your site. Okay, Sal, your mic is open, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was waiting. No, the
Okay, thank you.
Photoshop and several other editing software actually have a when you click to save, they actually have a save for web. So for people who don't understand what, resolutions in particular, they can just save for web, and Adobe will actually optimize the photo automatically for you.
Good point. Thank you. A lot of your photo editing software,
Will have
actually,
that save for web option. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even if I'm just creating an Adobe document, when I go to save it, I have an option to save it for print or to save it for web. So whatever you're working in, to Sal's point, if you see that as an option, that'd be the one to pick. Thank you, Sal. Okay, dokie. That was really good input. Thank you. Okay, internal, and we talked about backlinking already a bit, but what a lot of people don't recognize is the benefit of internal links. So, so the more that you can, if someone's on a page and you're talking about something, and then one or more of the words is a hyperlink, it's blue with the underline, and they can click on it and it takes them somewhere else on the site where they can get more detail about what they're reading. This is really good stuff. Google, not only does Google like to see it, it's helpful for your clients. Now, we prefer when that happens for it to open up in a smaller screen on top of the page they're on so that they don't get lost. But either way is fine. If it opens up full screen, they can go up to the top and click back to the tab that they were on if they want to do that. But the more internal links you can have, the better. Like we already talked about, backlinks are your most valuable real estate. So always be thinking where you can get more backlinks from. Other websites, from your blog posts, Chamber of Commerce's and your trade organizations are always the easiest because they want to help you. They want to give you those backlinks. Whenever you do a social media post, it's so simple, but everyone forgets to do it. Just put your website in the post. It can be the last thing. That counts as a backlink, and that's beneficial for you. But as many internal links as you can get are really helpful as well. Now, if you have pages, and actually we've learned this the hard way over the years, and I'll just tell the story of it. One of our largest clients, every quarter would offer a seasonal package, a seasonal discount. And we knew at a certain time every year, in April, take down this special, put up that special, so that we wouldn't have to recreate them. We saved these 4 pages. They weren't a link to the nav bar. One of them was all the time, but the other 3 weren't. The challenge is those are still being crawled by Google, even though they're not active on the nav bar and they're just in the back end of the site. And every now and then someone would do a search that would get them to one of those pages. And then they'd ask for a special, and it really wasn't a big deal to the client. Business was business. But the point is, they'd ask for a special that wasn't currently being offered. So what we learned to do was any pages that are not in use that you do not necessarily want people to find or see, you do a no follow. And that way, Google doesn't even look at those. Scott, anything you want to add on the no follow?
Yeah, because when generally, if you're using a content management system, the website uses something called a sitemap. And the sitemap is basically like a map that gets submitted for Google to quickly index your site. When you select like no follow or call that out, that's discouraging the robots to view the site. So if it's something you want to keep more internal, you don't want it on the web, it helps let Google and other search bots know not to check out that page, to ignore it, that's not a main page on my site, pay attention to these pages instead.
And going back to backlinks, Dan posted a note that GMB listings, Bing listings, etc., are good back. Now, I'm going to ask them in a second. I don't know what GMB stands for, but later on today, we're going to talk about owning your listings, your online listings, and those all become backlinks as well. But Dan, let me unmute you. What does GMB stand for?
Google My Business Listings.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, and going further, all those business directory listings, they're really good, excellent quality backlinks. So
Yes.
I want to make sure you cover that.
Yeah, and that is later in this webinar. So thank you. Those are amongst the easiest backlinks to get. And something, I can't tell you how many times you do a search and someone's business does come up and then it says, do you own this business? Which just means they never claimed it. And and we'll talk about it later, but there can be all kinds of problems with not claiming your directory.
Oh yeah, that's what keeps it a job. So.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Dan. All right. So, and thank you, Scott, for explaining no follow and the importance of that. My favorite thing, maybe because it's Google's favorite thing right now, but even if it wasn't, I think it would still be my favorite thing, is blogging. Not enough people do it. And generally, people don't do it because they think it's too much work, but it really isn't, or doesn't have to be. Creating a blog page on your site and updating it regularly keeps your website fresh. Google likes that. It can also increase visitor time on site, which, Google hasn't come right out and said the more time people spend at your site, the better. But they've made statements that it's something that they pay attention to and give value to. Now, there is a break on that. Most people would argue that a consumer level website should be as sticky as possible, meaning we want people to stay on your site for as long as they can. On the flip side, when we build sites that are B2B, business to business, we don't want them to necessarily be sticky unless the person wants to stay. We build them so the person searching that site can get into the site, see if what they're looking for is there, take action on it, maybe requesting a quote or something, and leave. We want our B2B sites to be as intuitive and friendly and fast as possible. But even on those, we do a lot of blogging. So blogging is really important. Let's the other thing that helps with blogging, and we're gonna, I think right after this slide, I'm gonna show some samples of blogs. But if you've got keywords that are important to you that aren't ranking as high as you'd like them to, blogging helps with that. There's also what they call long tail keywords. And these are phrases that are that you have, but you might find difficult to working into your website. Like, the example I showed here is, could you work the phrase best camping gear for cold weather somewhere into your website? Yeah, you could, but it's a little awkward. But you could easily turn that as a headline even into a blog. So blogging gives you opportunities to use these longer, I don't know where long tail comes, but use these longer keyword phrases that can be of great benefit. A blog also gives you more opportunities for internal linking. You write your blog, it's on your website, you talk about something. If they want more information on it, there's the link. They click on it and it takes them to another page in your site. If you have a lot of good blog pages, it also makes it easier to get backlinks from other sites because you offer their website viewers more information. So the more you do in terms of publishing blogs, it really does open up a lot more opportunities to you. And a blog doesn't have to be hugely long. We have some people, we have a company that does non-surgical hair replacement. And what we've taught them to do is they belong to various trade organizations that have both magazines and websites. Go onto their website, find something they've written that you think is useful or important, copy it, and put that in your blog. Just give them attribution. And not only do they don't care, they like it because you're helping promote their site. And that can be it. Or, as you're going to see in a moment, we'll either look at a site overall and say what keywords are lagging, or we'll pick specific pages that we want to really hit up in the rankings. And based on that page, we'll come up with the keywords that we think are most important for that page, and then we work those keywords into the blog. So we already talked about this. A good quality blog offers reasons for other people to backlink, to link their site to your site, which is a backlink. And HubSpot recently did a survey that sites that have good regular blogs earn up to 97% more inbound links than those that don't. And it just makes sense because it makes your website more relevant, more useful. So blogging is helpful on multiple levels and doesn't have to be a lot of work. A blog helps your audience connect at a deeper level. So while your website may be more informational, the blog is an opportunity to talk about that new piece of equipment you got, or how you helped figure out a particularly difficult problem for one of your clients. You know, kind of the nitty-gritty stuff that maybe doesn't have a good spot on the website. So I'm going to show some samples here. You know, our favorite formula is pick the web page that you want to support. Based on that web page, select your topic, then come up with the keywords that you want to use to support that topic. And then, 300 words isn't that much. Then write 300 to 600 words. Now let's see if this link works. It does, just not on the right page. Oh yeah, I want to show this first. So this is a company that we worked for a long time that manufactures eyewear. So this isn't blogging, but I wanted to show everybody this. Where'd the content? Oh, there it is. So these are the title tags and the page descriptions that we wrote for each of their individual pages. And we always send it to our clients first, for sanity check and approval before we post. So this is the web page. That was the title tag. And then here was the individual descriptions that we wrote for each. So let me close that. There we go. So let's pick, okay, they do a lot of motorcycle glasses. So I'm just randomly picking one to show you guys. And let me drag it in. So the title, finding the right motorcycle glasses for you. So remember we talked about those long tail keywords? Finding the right motorcycle glasses for you might be a little awkward to work into the website. I'm sure we could, but it would be a little awkward. So we were able to use it here. And then here's the keywords that we wanted to target in this article. And then we wrote the article and got approval from the client and then posted it on their blog page. So does that all make sense so far? Blogging is so important. Let's look at one more just for giggles. Why do I need to wear specialized motorcycle glasses? And motorcycle sunglass prescription, 7-eye motorcycle sunglasses were the keywords, and then we wrote the blog. So, blogging is, actually everything we're sharing with you guys today is all really easy things that you can do to improve the rankings. And it's all things you can do without having to hire someone to do it. Next is article and video spinning. there's some debate over how Google views article spinning. And what that means is, let's say you write a white paper. There's software, or you write a blog. There's software you can, that it gives you a very specific format on how it wants you to write the article. And because if you write one post and you send it out to a variety of places in the web, say you send it to 3 different of your trade organizations, but it's the same article, Google only counts it once. It doesn't count it 3 times. What the software will do is mix up your article if you've done the input correctly when you wrote the article. So now it's slightly different in all 3 places. And in theory, Google counts it all 3 times. But Google's pushed back on that and said, no, we're smarter than that. Other people have said, no, if it's really good spinning software, they can't be smarter than that. So it's something to think about. But what I really wanted to talk about on this page is videos. Videos are something else that you can do that are so quick and easy and simple and can be so beneficial. So first, if you don't have a YouTube page, get one, make your own, and then you can use your cell phone. You can use any inexpensive video camera. It doesn't even have to be video. I could take, well, we're recording it now. It's a video. I could post this to my YouTube page, which we're actually going to be doing, so you guys can all access it. It will have our web address in it. That counts as a backlink. So you could even do a series of PowerPoint presentations, and you don't have to do it through Zoom, but within PowerPoint, it gives you an opportunity to record it and add audio to it and turn it into a video. And you could just post those to your YouTube channel with links back to your website. And you can put links on your website to go to those videos. And those are kind of internal links. So doing video is really easy to do. Get your YouTube channel full and make sure they all have links back to your website. Scott, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I just think it's good to actually since Google controls YouTube, it's a good platform to optimize and use and create the backlinks. And engaging the actual user is great through a video, because sometimes some people don't have the attention span to read articles, so they'd like to get the information right then and there through the video. So I do believe it's a more engaging concept.
Yeah, I agree, especially with that not wanting to read. I have 2 children that are millennials. Their favorite search engine isn't Google, Yahoo, or Bing. It's YouTube, because they don't want to have to read. So they can search anything and up pops a video and they get to just watch that. So YouTube is strong. But remember, at the end of the day, backlink. Anything you can do to get relevant backlinks is really good. Now, this is what we were chatting with Dan about, claiming your web directories. And they're all over. And one of the simplest things is just Google your company name and look at the aggregator sites or the directories that pop up. And then, where it says, is this you? Say yes. Just click on that, and it takes you through the whole process step by step. In the old days, we had to be in the yellow pages. Now, you really do need to be in the directories, because you've probably all noticed when you do a search in the organic rankings, what's usually up at the top of the organic rankings? These directory sites and aggregator sites come up first, then everyone else comes up. So to the degree you're in there, it really increases your visibility. It's usually free. All of them are going to try to convince you to spend more money to get an upgrade, which you can decide if that makes sense for you or not. You'll be found more often by the search engines. It improves your organic rankings, and it gives you an opportunity to add detailed information about your business, you know, your street address, you know, if you have one, web address, photos, you know, everything. You can, you know, you can chock them full, and that's really beneficial. So first, you just find your directory. This one says manage now, but you know, whatever it says, click on it, and then usually it takes you to a form that you're going to fill out to claim your page. Generally, they're going to want to verify somehow that this is really you, and this is a reason why you really want to claim these. You know, what if your unscrupulous competitor down the street went in and claimed your directories? Now he or she has their directories, and now they also have your directories. And once they claim it, you know, you can dispute it and get it back, but it ain't easy. Better that you just claim it and own your directories in the first place. So once you claim it, you know, they're going to want to verify it. And it's, you know, often it's an email verification or a phone call or, yeah, it's something. Just go through the process and get verified. And then make sure that you've really updated it and put all your information. Again, make it keyword rich. You've written those keywords. You know how to use them. Now I want to talk about SEO tracking software. So we've talked about these keywords. How do we know how well our keywords are really doing? And I don't know if this is going to link through or not. Let's try it. Looks like it is. So let me drag this over and we'll log in. So we use one called Rank Watch. It's one of the lower end ones. It's not terribly expensive. It doesn't have as many bells and whistles as some of the bigger ones, but it's a really nice dashboard. And on this, you know, we can track, you know, we can track how all of our clients are doing in terms of their keywords. And we can see if their keywords are going up, down, if they're staying the same. Scott, do you want to talk anything more about using these SEO dashboards?
Yeah, you can, I believe you can compare competitors in the same field. Basically, they'll scan the competitor site and give it an overview of the search terms and search keywords, and sort of give you an idea of where you compare organically with the other websites, and sort of gives you just sort of a real simple overview to where you need to fix your website to compare it to the competitor down the street.
Yeah, see, and this is that page. It gives you opportunities. So when you click on, and I'm not going to do it because it's loading slow, but when you click on that, it looks at the keywords you have, looks at your competitors, and looks at their keywords and comes back and says, hey, have you considered these keywords? These are keywords your competitors are using. They may or may not be relevant to your business, but here they are. Take a look at them. It does analytics, and you can even set it to automatically email you a report every month that's detailed and how you're doing. Now, I'm not pitching Rank Watch per se, because it really depends on your business, the size of your business, what you can afford, what you want to use. But if you just search, you know, for SEO tracking software, you know, these are all good. So just take a look at each of them, play around. Most of them offer some period of time where you can use it for free, and just find the one that makes the most sense for you and use it. They all pretty much basically do the same thing, and then some of them have much higher level stuff. So we're getting towards the wrap up here. This is an important page. Once you've done all of these things to your website and you've really made it keyword rich, Google friendly, you've taken all of your photos and images, reduced their size, then you want to go to each of these. Now, these are from the Google, these are Google Webmaster Tools. Anyone can use them, but there's no one here selling you anything. These aren't people that are going to tell you your website sucks, pay us to fix it. This is Google. Now, what they will tell you, perhaps, is that your website sucks, but here's what you can do to fix it. which you can either do yourself, or if you need to, you can hire someone. But you want to run these 3 tests on your website. And Google will tell you, because Google doesn't want sucky sites. They want your site to be successful. So by running these tools, it'll not only tell you how they view your site, but it'll also tell you what you, in their opinion, what you can do to fix or improve your site. So with that, I know we kind of went through this quickly. We didn't have quite as many people as we had hoped, so we didn't get as much input. But I'd like to open it up for questions now. So if anyone has a question, a comment, a thought, I know we have some web people on the line. Anything you'd like to add, just raise a hand or unmute yourself, and we would love to hear it. You know, Dan has some thoughts, but we're going to save him for last. Is there anyone else that would like to add anything? And Jenny, are you on the call in an audio way that you can say anything? Or Darren, if your mic isn't working, then don't say anything. All right, any questions from anyone else? All right, Dan, I am unmuting you. Share with us your thoughts, if you would.
Okay, am I unmuted yet?
You
Okay,
are unmuted,
okay.
yes.
All right. Yeah, first of all, I think you guys did a pretty good job of taking something that's pretty darn complex and trying to simplify it. I don't think there's ever going to be somebody that does absolutely perfect, but you guys did a really, really good job at that, I think.
Well, thank you.
So I would like to emphasize the importance of the local listings, though, because that's something that, as you guys probably know, a lot of businesses don't even, they never claim the listings. And probably a good story here. I have a client at a law firm that never claimed the listing. They came to me for SEO stuff, of course, doing that. But we went ahead, and one of the things I do is always, all my clients, we go through the local listing stuff, making sure they're all up to stuff there. Their previous guy kind of hijacked their Google business listing. So we went and processed and brought it back. Just a couple modifications, just managing it, throwing some pictures on there, updating the information. All of a sudden, they're just getting just a wave of new calls, of calls they never thought they had before. And it's essentially free. So that's just a Google. If you do, a button of Bing and Yahoo and all these other ones here, that's just icing on the cake. So.
No, you're absolutely right. And especially because they serve up so high in the organic listings, often at the very top. You could have a website that is not performing well, but because you're in the listings, which are serving up high, like Dan said, suddenly your phone's ringing. And they're free. So, I mean, everything that we went through in today's webinar, most of you can do on your own at no cost. And Dan, would you agree if someone went in and did their title tags, their page descriptions, their headers, speeded up their website by minimizing or optimizing their photos, and did their directories, that they're going to see some kind of improvement in their rankings?
Oh, absolutely. Consider the fact most businesses don't even touch their website. A lot of businesses don't even have a website. Okay, doing anything would certainly improve your ranking. And yeah, a lot of I see a lot of even web designers that they mean well. They have very pretty websites, but don't do anything with the title tags and all the basic SEO stuff that you guys covered in here. And it's a shame because you have $1,000 on the website and nobody sees it.
Right.
And just so these little fundamental things, at least to get make Google happy. I call it Google food. You feed Google the right stuff. Wait.
You call it what?
I call it Google food.
I love that. Okay, I'm borrowing that.
Yeah. I got a fighter's fee.
Okay, everyone, break out your Google food.
Yeah,
I love Google food.
Actually, I've been describing that for a long time. You could take it too. Just remember me. So
okay, will do.
Yeah, if you feed Google the right way, Google loves it. So title tags, the description tags, proper URLs, so on and so forth. These very fundamental things. goes a long way with making Google happy.
And something else, Dan, that I think people miss is I've had people, for example, reach out to us and they say, you know, we want you to do our offsite SEO, but their website stinks. It's not Google friendly. They haven't done any of this stuff. So the analogy I use, and I'll give this one to you, is doing offsite SEO for a stinky website is like putting cheap speakers on an expensive stereo.
Yeah.
So regardless of what everyone does after this, this is where you start. You do this first, and then if you want to consider, you know, bringing someone in to do offsite, you can, but you've got to have this stuff done first.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, going back to the local listings, if you add your URL to all those listings, that's cheap and really good backlinking. Okay. And if you add the fact most people don't mess with the website, don't have a website, don't mess with the local with their business listings, just doing that, you can get way ahead of your competition.
Yeah. I mean, these are all simple things to do. All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your comments and input. Very much appreciated. And thank you for loaning me Google food.
Okay.
And
remember, I'll send you an address for my royalty checks. Okay.
There you go. There you go. All right. Thank you, Dan. I'm going to put you back on mute if that's okay. Thank you. All right. Is there any thoughts, questions? Remember, you're going to get an email from Jenny with some flyers. Read them, because this is not, well, it is advertising, but it's all free. Everything she sends you, there's no cost to you to do. So look at those flyers. They're important. On the Job Training is the name of the program I couldn't think of before, where they can help you hire someone, and the county will cover up to 50% of their pay for, I think it's up to 3 months. And then there's the HR, and they have all kinds of services that they can assist you with, all for free. Equally important in that email will be a survey, maybe even in some ways more important, because it's your response to those surveys that keep webinars and seminars like this alive and coming your way. So please, 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 please fill out the survey and return it. So unless there's anything else from anyone else, I'm going to thank everyone and remind you, you'll be getting a link to where you can view this video. Take a look at it and put your website to work for you. All right. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.